India.
Namaste land.
Vanakkam India.
Hello, Namaskar and a very warm welcome to all the viewers and football fans in our special broadcast on Euro 2020 off the field, biggest final of this season with me, Deepika. The winners are most deservingly Italy. The trophy has also gone to Rome, and Italy won the European Championship for the first time since 1968. Player of the tournament, goalkeeper Gianluigi Donnarumma saved 2 England penalties en route to a 3-2 shootout win, and both the sides had fought out a 1-1 extra time draw at Wembley Stadium on Sunday night. Notably, it is also the first final decided on penalties since Czechoslovakia beat West Germany, and this was in the year 1976. Isn't this super interesting? Well, the next half an hour will be decked with in-depth stats, analysis, all-time winners of Euro Championship and a lot more. Let's begin. Italy regged England's Euro 2020 at Wembley night on Sunday, winning the final on penalties to plunge the host nation into despair and prolong 55-year wait to win a major title. Roberto Mancini's men recovered from the shock of conceding the quickest goal in a European Championship final to equalize and held their nerve to claim a 3-2 shootout victory. Here's a detailed report bringing you an insight from last night's firework in London. England's long wait for a major trophy goes on after Gareth Southgate's side saw their Euro 2020 dreams end in a heartbreaking penalty shootout defeat to Italy. The nation was at a standstill for the Three Lions' biggest match in 55 years, and Luke Shaw's early stunner at a rocking Wembley had fans dreaming that football would be coming home rather than going to Rome. But Italy wrested control of Sunday's final and deservedly leveled through Leonardo Bonucci, with the match going to extra time and on to spot kicks after it ended 1-1. And after a tense period of extra time failed to find a winner, it was on to penalties, and bitter disappointment for England manager Gareth Southgate and his players, who had gone into this final on a wave of expectation and high emotion. England missed 3 of their 5 penalties, Marcus Rashford hitting a post and Gianluigi Donnarumma denying Jadon Sancho before so cruelly for such a fine young player. Arsenal teenager Bukayo Saka also saw the giant Italy goalkeeper save his spot kick. Harry Kane and Harry Maguire scored for England, but while Pickford kept hopes alive with saves from Andrea Bellotti and Jorginho, Domenico Berardi, Bonucci and Federico scored for Italy. England's loss will be felt deeply after such impressive progress through the knockout stage with wins against Germany, Ukraine and Denmark. Southgate must now digest whether he got it right in the final when it came to his approach, substitutions and penalty takers, but when the dust settles, England can reflect on progress made. England's loss will be felt deeply after such impressive progress through the knockout stage with wins against Germany, Ukraine and Denmark. Southgate must now digest whether he got it right in the final when it came to his approach, substitutions and penalty takers, but when the dust settles, England will have to reflect on the progress made so far. Sports Desk, DD India. And I'm joined by my 2 colleagues, Anil and Narayan, who throughout the tournament kept us updated with their interesting observations and insight. Welcome back, Anil and Narayan, on the show. Italy finally won the title. Anil, my very first question to you is that in our last special broadcast, you took the name of Italy as prospective winners. Please tell the viewers your observations about the team so far in the tournament.
In the group stage, they were clinical. 3 out of 3 wins. Looked almost perfect in the way they started the campaign on a winning run. Roberto Mancini, Italians are known to be generally stingy. They look for a single goal as an outcome of a particular target because they look at 3 points irrespective of the fact whether you score 5 or whether you score 1 goal in a game. I think Roberto Mancini has been able to transform that. He's been able to bring more of power at the top, more of players, he wanting more of players to score at the top and more goals there in the middle. So I think that clearly, that philosophy brought especially in the Italian team, clearly paid rich dividends. And I think throughout the tournament, if you see Italy's performance, except for the final, the only thing different in the final, that is the first time that Italy conceded an early goal and then Italy had to come back in the match. And I think again you got to give it to Roberto Mancini. You know, different circumstances at different stages in the tournament, he's always come out trump with something or the other. And in the final too, you know, even when the going was getting tough for Italy, especially you know, against that crowd that was backing the home team England, I think Roberto Mancini kept his cool. And though everyone talks about Donnarumma, the goalkeeper, as the hero, but I think, you know, equal credit needs to be given to the manager in the manner in which he went about handling this squad. And, you know, at the end of the day, the trophy is now going to Rome.
Right. Coming on to you, Narayan. England's painful half-century wait for the title again continues. Top observation of yours on England's performance in the tournament so far, Narayan?
England was nearly near the trophy when they scored the fastest goal in the final of an Euro Championship, but somehow tactically they were on a wrong note. After scoring the fastest Euro goal, they went for on a defensive mode and they tried to defend that goal, but you can't defend after scoring of a goal after 2 minutes and go for remaining 88 minutes to defend the match. And that was looked like a tactical blunder by the English coach. Here he should have gone in more attacking mode and should have scored one more goal against a team like Italy, who are playing a fantastic football throughout the tournament, who have a great defense. And apart from that, when the penalties are there, that their coach Southgate has given the penalties, like the young player Saka, who is just in his teenagers, and in such a crucial moment you can't give such penalties to the young players. And apart from this, he never went for the players like if you talk about the players like their Marcus Rashford and the Jordan Sancho, they were off the park. They have played very little in this tournament, because and after that you are giving them chance to score a penalty in such a crucial moment. They are out of form and they are looking the way you have not you have benched them throughout the tournament, and again you are calling them for taking crucial penalty. Definitely their morale was already down and you are asking for such players to take penalty. It was looked like a big mistake by Gareth Southgate here.
Coming back to you, Anil, my next question is on Pedri. 18 years old, Pedri has always been one of the standout players in this tournament, and his efforts were clearly visible on the field. Your comments on the young talent?
Well, I think, you know, he's the star to watch, especially for the future. And, you know, playing for Barcelona, playing along with Lionel Messi, you know, clearly a lot to learn, especially from the star-studded bench of, you know, one of the big Spanish clubs. And I think he's going to be the star for the future, especially, you know, bagging that young player of the tournament award. Big clubs, at least English clubs, are all making a beeline for him. And, you know, Barcelona would find it very difficult to retain him, you know, considering the buzz that is there in the market and the wonderful display that he's done, especially in Euro 2020. So clearly he's going to be the star of the future. And I wouldn't be surprised, say a season or two, you see him in one of the top flight clubs in English Premier League, either a Liverpool, a Chelsea, or a Manchester City, you know, going all out to get him under their wings.
Well, my next question again goes back to Narayan. Midfielder Marco Verratti has not made any Serie A career appearance, and he was the one who said that this is going to be an epic final before the finals only. Your comments?
Marco Verratti is a fantastic player. If you talk about the few players who throughout the tournament who played the best football, that is Verratti is one of them. Before the start of the tournament he was injured, and to date he is one of the best player in this Euro tournament. If you talk about the final of the Euro 2020, definitely we can say that in 90 minutes he made 88 successful passes, and it's an incredible stats if you talk about the Marco Verratti. And he not only did a pass, but he also gelled with the other midfielders that were in the Italian team. Apart from that, he also the successful tackles. He made 17 successful tackles from 18, and this is also an incredible the stats, and it talks about the volume of the Marco Verratti and his impact on this final Euro final match.
Right, definitely. My last question goes to Anil. Gareth Southgate's side totally lost control in this final. What went wrong? Your observations?
Well, I think, first things first, playing at Wembley had its advantages and disadvantages. Remember, something similar happened in the World Cup too in Russia. England played that semi-final, took an early lead against Croatia, and then blew it away to lose in the semi-final. A very similar kind of strategy seen on display there by Gareth Southgate. Got England ahead very early in the match. You just needed to put pressure there, keep that midfield, pushed back. The Italians pushed back because the Italians looked lackluster. They looked lost in the first half, if you purely ask me. And I was super impressed with the way England played that first half. But you need to know that Italy would go back to the drawing board and would come back with something different. And I think England expected them to play that same football that they saw in the first half. And I think that's what caught Gareth Southgate and almost the whole of the English football team by surprise. Italians looked a different outfit in that second half. They were pressing more for getting that equalizer, and they got rewarded pretty quickly. If you still have 30-25 minutes of action left in the game and you were able to find an equalizer, then it's an open game. Any team can go for a win. And I think that's where the English team lost a plot or two. And especially when it comes to substitutions, I think Gareth Southgate made a mistake, especially when it comes to substitutions in that big game. You keep one of your prolific players there, Jack Wilshere, on the bench, bring him on in extra time. There is a gamble that if this particular game goes into a penalty shootout, is he the player that you're looking at to take those shots? But I think, you got to give marks at least to Gareth Southgate for being the fall guy. Even though the team lost, there has been huge criticism about, the players who took the penalty kick and who missed it. But I think Gareth Southgate has stuck his neck out and said that I am to be blamed for all that's gone wrong because I am the one who made the choice when it comes to the players who took the penalty. And I think you got to give credit to England, especially the football that they played. They came pretty close, not once but twice. 2018 too, I would say. They came pretty close to reaching another World Cup final. They missed it in the semi-finals. This time they've got one step further in the Continental Championship, reaching the final. You got to give credit to this team because they look like a complete unit. And in the next World Cup in 2022, this particular team, if they retain Gareth Southgate for that particular World Cup, the contract is there. So if they retain him, I think this particular side is going to be a much more potent, outfit, especially when it's played in Asia, in Qatar next year.
That's a very crucial point to note down over here. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us. We will be again coming back to you for a quick and rapid fire round. Moving on to our next story. It has been an interesting journey for both the teams, England and Italy. High hopes were on England, but Italy took everyone by shock. We have put together some interesting facts about the winners, Team Italy. Here we go. So let's take a look at winners, telltale. Did you know Italy are fourth side to win multiple Euro titles after Germany, Spain? The 53-year gap between their title is the longest in Euro's history. Italy are the fourth side to win 2 penalty shootouts at a single Euro finals tournament. Moreover, Bonucci is the oldest player to score in a Euro final. Shaw's opener was clocked at 1:56, the fastest goal in a Euro final and 5th quickest tournament in the history. And this was the 7th Euro final to go to extra time and the 2nd to go to a shootout. Chelsea's Jorginho is only the 10th player to feature on the winning side in the European Cup and Euro in the same year. And Italy are 34 matches unbeaten, dating back to 2018 in the month of September. And Italy had not conceded the first goal in any of their previous 18 outings before the finals. The Azzurri have conceded more than once in just one of their last 21 Euro final matches. Bonucci made his 18th Euro finals appearance, an Italian record. Harry Kane made his 11th Euro finals appearance, matching the England record of Gary Neville. And those were a few interesting stats of the winning team Italy. And moving back to both of my guests, Anil and Narayan, for a quick round of rapid fire. Anil, we all now know the rules as of now. Your first top thought has to be a very one word, has to be really fast. So starting with you, Anil, one word for Jorginho.
I think champion of champions.
Narayan, Gareth Southgate in one word.
Confused.
Anil, coming back to you, if Pedri would have been a superhero character, which one would you choose?
I think Quicksilver.
Perfect. Coming on to you, Narayan, define winning team Italy in one word.
Supernatural.
Anil, define the entire tournament in one word.
I think big achievement.
Perfect. Coming back to you, Narayan, best moment of the entire tournament.
Italy lifting the trophy.
Anil, last rapid fire question to you. If you would get a chance to manage a team as team manager in Euro Championship, which team would you choose?
No doubt Italy, Roberto Mancini's post.
Perfect. Last rapid fire question to you, Narayan. One moment that you would like to rewind and change.
That Bukayo Saka's missed penalty that I want to change.
Perfect. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us and giving us your rounded perspectives on the entire Euro Championship. And moving on to our next story. Let's take a look at interesting facts from the history of Euro Championship. All-time Euro winners, if you look at Germany, has won 3 titles in the year 1972, 1980 and 1996. Spain has won 3 titles in the year 1964, 2008 and 2012. France has won 2 titles in the year 1984 and 2000. Italy has won 2 titles so far in the year 1968 and 2020. Soviet Union has won a single title in the year 1960. Czechoslovakia has won a single title in 1976. Portugal has won a single title in the year 2006 in the history of European Championship. Netherlands has won a single title in the year 1988. Denmark has won a single title in the year 1992. Greece has won a single title in the year 2004. And these were the overall champions of the Euro Championships so far. And diving deeper into the history of Euro Championship, we've created some interesting graphics showing previous Euro winners. So if we take a look, 2020 it is Italy. In 2016 it was Portugal. In 2012 it was Spain. 2008 was again Spain. 2004 was Greece. And who defeated Portugal? 2000 was France. Germany in 1996, who won by 2-1 versus Czech Republic. The next one was Denmark in the year 1992, who won 2-0 versus Germany, Gothenburg. The next one was in the year 1998, it was Netherlands who won 2-0 versus USSR, Munich. In 1984, it was France who won 2-0 versus Spain in Paris. And the next one is 1980, West Germany who won 2-1 versus Belgium. Next one was in 1976, Czechoslovakia by 2-2 who won versus West Germany. We are taking a look at all-time European Championships. 1972, it was West Germany, 3-0 versus USSR. In 1968, it was Italy, 2-0 versus Yugoslavia, replay, Rome. In 1964, it was Spain who won 2-1 versus USSR. And going even behind, it was 1960, USSR who won by 2-1 versus Yugoslavia. At various fan zones across the world, thousands of fans started jumping in pure elation, shouting and hugging each other. The victory at Wembley Stadium brought Italy its first European title since 1968. In the next report, we bring you fan reactions on Euro 2020 Grand Finale. Italy's triumphant soccer team returned to Rome in the early hours of Monday morning, buoyed up with adrenaline rush after winning the Euro 2020 finals in England. King Giorgino Chiellini got off the bus wearing a golden crown surrounded by jubilant Italian fans who had been waiting for their heroes since dawn. Defender Bonucci, who equalized Luke Shaw's goal in the second half before winning 3-2 in a shootout after a 1-1 draw following extra time, erupted into chants with fans wrapped in the Italian flag. Everyone in Venice appeared to be out in the streets jumping up and down, honking horns and waving Italian flags. It's a long day of celebrations in a country that has been worn out by the coronavirus pandemic and is united in this moment of joy. Italian fans outside the country are also euphoric after Italy's nail-biting win over England in the Euro final. Italians in Toronto celebrated the victory with much fanfare. Italians were dancing, chanting and singing in euphoria late on Sunday after their national team won a 10th European Championship final against England.
Incredible. I can hardly believe it. This is amazing. It hasn't happened in 15 years and we brought the trophy back, baby.
Eruption of sheer joy, car honking, horn blowing, fireworks, explodings, huggings and cheering is the most common scene of Italian fans across the country whose soccer team lifted the country's spirit after multiple lockdowns and incalculable suffering brought by a brutal pandemic. Sports Desk, DD India. While the world is celebrating, there is something else that needs urgent attention. The UK Prime Minister and the Football Association have condemned racist abuse aimed at England's Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford and Bukayo Saka after the Euro 2020 final defeat by Italy. All three players missed penalties in the 3-2 shootout loss and were targeted on social media after the game. More in this report. Three England players who missed penalty kicks against Italy in the Euro 2020 final were subjected to racial abuse online. The English Football Association has issued a statement condemning the language used against the players. The teams drew the game 1-1 after extra time and Italy went on to win the shootout 3-2. The UK Prime Minister and the Football Association have condemned racist abuse aimed at England's Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford and Bukayo Saka. All three players missed penalties in the 3-2 shootout loss and were targeted on social media after the game. In its official statement, the Football Association said it was appalled by the abuse of three players. The team had taken a knee before the beginning of the games at the European Championship to extend its support for an end to racial inequality. It further stated that the young and multi-ethnic English squad has won the hearts of the fans before failing to win the title. Rashford highlighted racial abuse he received on social media in May after losing the Europa League final with Manchester United. And last year, Sancho was among sports stars protesting against racism following the murder of George Floyd by a police officer in Minneapolis. Social media companies have been criticized for a perceived lack of action on racist abuse on their platforms. And in the month of April, Instagram announced a tool to enable users to automatically filter out abusive messages from those they do not follow. Following numerous instances of online abuse, a number of clubs, players, athletes and sporting bodies took part in a 4-day boycott of social media in the month of April to encourage companies to take a stronger stance against racist and sexist abuse. Sports Desk, TD India. It's been an emotional, cheerful and interesting journey so far at the Euro Championship 2020. We saw biggest upsets this time, more extra time penalties, heartbreaks and deserving wins. But most importantly, as football fans, racism should not be given any space in the entire ecosystem of sports. We should not only discourage racism, but our support to the teams has to be with full fervor and complete support. With this, it's a wrap of our special edition Euro 2020 Off the Field. See you on the other side with latest sports and Olympics updates. Meanwhile, please stay safe, maintain COVID-19 protocols, and don't forget to vaccinate yourself. Bye-bye for now.